Hello friends, this video on Kingdom Animalia Part 12 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Let us now talk about the body forms of Coelenterata. Now this Coelenterata they exhibit two types of body form. Till now we talked about their structure. What are they made up of, which part is what and what is their function. Now we will see that the look or the structure of Coelenterata is not the same in all. The structure of the animal is not the same in all coelentrates. There are two types of body which exists in a coelenterate. So let us see what are those two types. They exhibit two basic body forms. What are they? Polyp and medusa. So these are the two body forms which are seen in Coelenterata. So let us see what are these two body forms in which Coelenterata exists. Now if you look at their shape, polyp is a form which is cylindrical in shape, whereas medusa is a form which is umbrella shaped. Now looking at this picture, you can understand which is a polyp and which is a medusa. So here if you see, which one looks cylindrical? This looks cylindrical, so this is a polyp and this is an umbrella shaped. This is how an umbrella looks like, right? And this is how a cylinder looks like. So this is resembling an umbrella. So this is medusa. So these are the two types of body forms which exist in a Coelenterata. Another difference is that polyp is immobile. That is, this cylindrical form is not capable of moving from one place to another, whereas medusa is free swimming, because Coelenterata are all marine, aquatic, right? So medusa is free swimming, they can swim, but polyps are not. In polyp, mouth and tentacles face upwards. So here if you see, this is the mouth. So this portion is the mouth and these are the tentacles. So here if you see, both the tentacles is facing upwards this way. The mouth is also facing upwards. But in this case, what is this? This is medusa is an upside down polyp, because it is just, you can just imagine it as an upside down polyp. If you invert polyp, you get medusa. It is like that. So these are the two basic body forms in which a Coelenterata exists. So when you look at the structure of Hydra, what do you think? Hydra is a polyp or a medusa? It is a polyp, because it is that cylindrical structure which we see, right? Okay, so now looking at the examples of the coelentrates, you can identify it yourself which exists in a polyp form and which exists in a medusa form. Example. So Hydra is an example of polyp and jellyfish is an example of medusa. Let us now talk about reproduction. So even in coelentrates, they reproduce both asexually as well as sexually. So let us first talk about asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction happens by many different methods. One of them is budding. What happens in budding? We all know what is budding. Here a new individual is formed as an outgrowth of parent. That means on the parent's body, you will see a small outgrowth. That outgrowth is known as bud, and that will develop, mature and form a new organism. So Hydra is a classic example of budding. So in Hydra, you actually see that a small outgrowth happens in the body, and this outgrowth is known as bud. It starts developing, and once it becomes mature, it separates away from the parent body. So that is how reproduction happens by budding. Another method is again fragmentation here also. That is, the parent breaks into multiple pieces on maturity, each of which gives rise to a new individual. So that is fragmentation. You can remember the term with the help of fragment. Fragment means pieces. So that parent will get divided into fragments. Each fragment will give rise to a new organism. So these are some of the methods of asexual reproduction in Coelenterata. So let us now look at the sexual reproduction. How do they reproduce sexually? Now, whenever I talk about sexual reproduction, it has to be by gamete formation. So here we introduce a new term known as metagenesis. What is metagenesis? existence of some cnidarians in both polyp and medusa forms by alternation of generation. Just now I talked about the two forms, polyp and medusa. I gave examples also that hydra exists as a polyp, whereas a jellyfish exists as a medusa. But it was seen that there were some coelentrates which has both the forms. I mean, some of their lifetime they existed as polyp, the remaining time of their lifetime they existed as medusa. So that means during their lifetime the conversion from polyp to medusa or medusa to polyp happened. So those kind of coelentrates, however, were rare, but there were some. Now this phenomenon is known as metagenesis, that is existence of both polyp and medusa forms. And how do both exist? By alternation of generation. That means first one form will exist and then that will give rise to the other form. Again that will give rise to the first form. So each one of them will give rise to the other form. That is known as alternation of generations. So this metagenesis is shown by some coelentrates. An example is Obelia. So Obelia is one such coelentrata which actually exists in both polyp and medusa form. So we will look at the life cycle of a coelentrata here. Now talking about sexual reproduction, it happens by fusion of gametes. Now, just now as I mentioned that in some coelentrates there is alternation of generation. Now if there is no, if only polyp or medusa forms exist, then that is simple. It will be like gametes will be produced and it will happen by fusion of gametes. But now in case of coelentrata where both polyp and medusa forms exist, there the situation will become a little different. What will happen there? Alternation of generation will happen. That is, one form will give rise to the other form. Maybe polyp will give rise to medusa, again medusa will give rise to polyp. So that alternation of generation will take place. So let us look at the life cycle of such a coelentrate. So let us look at the life cycle of Obelia. So that will actually help you to understand the concept even better. Okay. Now, let us suppose that this is a mature polyp. What happens? This mature polyp will actually start grouping with other polyps and it will form a colony of polyps. Now from these colony of polyps, there will be some reproductive polyp. Not all will be reproductive, but maybe there will be some reproductive polyp. And on that reproductive polyp, medusa bud develops. So medusa bud will develop on a reproductive polyp. So what will happen? Medusa will be formed because that medusa bud will gradually grow, so that medusa will be formed. Right? Now, when I talk about a reproductive polyp, we need two reproductive polyps for the two gametes, right? So there will be two medusa form. One is medusa 1 and there will be another medusa 2. Now this medusa 1 will give one type of gametes, medusa 2 will give different types of gametes. So this will give gametes, this will also give gametes. And then these two gametes will fuse together. So fusion will happen and a zygote will be formed. Now this zygote will grow and it will form a ciliated larva. So there is a larval stage involved. Now once the zygote is formed, that means the reproduction part is done. But then starts the development part of the zygote. That zygote needs to develop as an embryo. That embryo will turn into a baby. So that process will start. Now this development process can be of two types. It can be a direct development. It can be an indirect development. When I say direct development, I mean that the zygote will directly form a baby. That is, it will directly form a mature individual. or it will form the shape, get the same individual. When I say indirect development, that means there is some intermediate form which will be formed, and then that form will again grow to form that mature individual. So in this case, that intermediate form is ciliated larva. So this is an example of indirect development. Now this ciliated larva is given a name known as planula. It is known as planula. So this planula will grow and it will form a developing polyp, and this developing polyp will further grow to form a mature polyp, and this cycle will continue. So what do we see here? Here we had a polyp, and here we had a medusa. So from polyp to medusa, how was a medusa formed from a polyp? From polyp to medusa, it was formed by asexual reproduction. Right? It formed by budding. But from medusa to polyp, how this portion happened? This portion happened by sexual reproduction. So this is known as alternation of generation. That is, a polyp gives rise to medusa by asexual method, and medusa again gives rise to polyp by sexual mode. So this is the life cycle of a Coelenterata, which exhibit both the polyp and medusa forms in their lifetime. But otherwise, if you talk about the features of sexual reproduction, here sexes are separate. Here the development is indirect, that is a larval stage is involved. So the zygote will directly not form the mature individual. It will form an intermediate larva which is known as planula, and that planula will further grow to form the polyp. So this was about the reproduction of coelentrates. Now we will talk about another group of animals which are very much similar to coelentrates. They are known as Ctenophora. So they are very much similar to Coelenterata, but because of some differences, they have been categorized as a separate phylum. In fact, in many of the places you will see that Ctenophora have been segregated as a different phylum altogether. So you have one phylum as Coelenterata, you have another phylum as Ctenophora. So here I have not taken it as a separate phylum, but I am discussing about it with Coelenterata. So most of the characteristics here are similar. Because of their appearance, they are known as sea walnuts or comb jellies. You all know how walnuts look like, right? So if you look at this picture, this resembles a walnut. And why are they called comb jellies? Because of the presence of this comb-like structure. You see, in comb you have so many multiple teeth, right? So similarly here you have those comb-like structures, and that is why they are known as comb jellies. They are exclusively marine, only found in marine environment. Tissue level of organization, same as Coelenterata. Diploblastic, again same as Coelenterata. Radially symmetrical. Okay, this is also the same. Bioluminescence is an important property of ctenophores. What is bioluminescence? Bio means life. Luminescence means light. So some of the ctenophores have this property that they give out light of their own. So that is a characteristic feature of the ctenophores. Now, another important feature of the ctenophores is that their body bears ciliated comb plates, because of which they are also known as comb jellies. Now, we will look at some examples which will make things clear. One of the common example is Pleurobrachia. So, if you look at this Pleurobrachia, you see some plate-like structures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these plate-like structures are known as the comb plates. And because of the presence of these comb plates, they are known as comb jellies. So what do these comb plates help in? They actually help in locomotion. These 8 rows of comb plates help them in locomotion. Other than that, they also have this flagella in this form, as you see here, tail-like structures. Ctenoplana is also an example of ctenophora. So there is nothing much very special to discuss about ctenophora separately, because most of the things are similar to Coelenterata. They are just grouped separately due to the presence of these comb plates. Because of their presence, their structure becomes a little different and they have been put into a separate group. Okay. So with this, we will move on to the third phylum, that is the platyhelminths. Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more videos, attempt free online test, get free study material, find tutors and mentors. Thank you once again.